Nick, what's the game called? It's called Fortnite. It's free.
There was a time where you probably would have said Donald Mustard couldn't put a foot wrong. Simply untouchable.
I'm gonna do what we should have done from the very start. I'm going to the 7th.
You took an oath. The last reality is at hand.
I think you're gonna love what's coming next. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
This changes everything!
For everyone to see it.
Success after success after success. He has revolutionized gaming live events as we know it, from working with the Russo brothers on Zero Crisis to getting a cameo in The Matrix, Star Wars and Avengers Endgame as a wizard. But magic is not going to save the current opinion shared by the Fortnite community on the Fortnite storyline, and that the enigma we know as Donald Mustard is starting to wane. After a number of lackluster events and a comic book that has created a huge division in the community, and don't forget we're about 5 to 6 months away from a new chapter as well if leaks are to be believed, and we may only get one event and one chapter every year. That appears to be the rumours anyway. In a recent interview where he was joined by one of the Russo brothers, Donald said this: "I was getting so tired of the structured format of 2-hour movie or a 20-minute episode or even a 45-minute episode or whatever, or the game has to be this long. I think the idea of a formula or length time should be completely based on the type of experience you're trying to create and what's best for the pacing. If a episode of a TV show had to be 7 minutes long because it suited the pacing, then make it 7 minutes long and don't draw it out." And this is what I've been saying for a few seasons now when I talk about how long a chapter should be. It should always go down to feeling, pacing. But if we are to believe rumours, we will be going into chapter 5 at the end of this year, exactly identical to last chapter. So from this, a lot of people were speculating that from now on chapters will only be a year, which completely goes against Donald Mustard's own philosophy. And of course it could all be coincidence as to why chapter 3 and chapter 4 will each be a year. If chapter 4 is going to be a year, I hope the reason behind it is organic. Now they're not trying to cram chapter 4's story into a year's worth of story, and it would fit better into a year and a half, 2 years, or 2.5 years. I feel like a few seasons ago I made a valid point that chapter 3 should have ended in season 2. From the introduction of the imagined order in the 7, we built up to that moment of the collision event. Okay, let's think about this. So season 5 of chapter 2 to season 2 of chapter 3. That is 6 seasons of exposition, climax, resolution. A full arc. And there is a massive argument that we had build up to the imagined order in the 7 well before that. So it does take time. And maybe the vibe in season would have been less weird if it was the beginning of chapter 4. And that chapter 4 would go over the 7 getting taken by the last reality and eventually escaping. But I do know what chapter 3 was actually about, and it was about the 7 learning that things aren't always black and white. Things are not always what they seem. Because of course we've learnt now that freeing the 0 point wasn't the best idea, and that the imagined order containing it was the right one. Which we still haven't had the payoff for this. Eventually we will when the 7 returns, knowing that they need Geno's help. I feel like that's where it's got to be going, unless I'm completely wrong about that. Because that's the payoff. So why has chapter 4 got it so wrong and could cause Donald Mustard's downfall? Well, Fracture was one of the worst events in Fortnite history. Yes, it doesn't solidify Donald Mustard's downfall, but it will help towards it if it continues. I feel the Fortnite storyline for the last 5 years, and as a storyline creator myself, have only ever given us crumbs. We got a great story going on now, but it's taken years to get to this point. I'm concerned that it will take us years to get to the next point. Look, the Oathbound season and the Syndicate season has given us some great storyline, but the 2 endpoints left us both at cliffhangers. The Oathbound season asked us who's the Shaper's man, and that question still echoes this season. And for this season, for the Syndicate quest, I don't know what that question is. I mean, the Syndicates are now friends, but more and more questions begin to echo and reverberate and get louder to the point that we need answers. And I feel that season 3, we really need that payoff. Because I fear if we don't get it, that will be the downfall of Donald Mustard, and that will be the downfall of the storyline.